one's looking anymore at the performance. There's a woman going into labor.
You're like, mom, so what? You being selfish because I'm it's some. So the first time I met my friends from the UK.
From the UK?
The conversation started was, a friend of mine was like, oh, they're from German. And I'm like, no, they're not from German. They're from the UK.
Master of ceremony.
So let's start with Maria. Like, do you tell us about your journey? Like, who's Maria? In case, like, for our listeners, because this is this podcast. Here's my story. What's your story? We're just sharing stories from random. There's no beginning, there's no end.
I can talk a little bit about who I am. I think a big part of my identity is a dancer. And I grew up in the UK, and I was very lucky that when I was a teenager, my high school had a dance group. And there was one woman there who was really passionate about dance, and that led to there being an opportunity for me to learn dance from a really young age, and it set me on a little path that was all I wanted to do. And I tried much harder with the dance than I did at school when I was a teenager, and I managed to get into a dance school and left for the big city to study dance.
How come you didn't? It's important for people to understand, like, why dancing? Why not a model? Why dancing? Why not a singer?
Yeah, I have this memory from when I was about 14 working with a choreographer who was like pushing us pretty hard to get the steps and to catch the music and to be in time. And it was hard work, but it was so exciting. And I felt so much pride out of the fact of having brought it together, and we were all together, we were a team, and we were all doing it together. And there was something in that was very rewarding, and it was that's somewhere that I want to work hard, that I don't have to force myself to work hard. It's
so that the instructor challenged you.
Yeah.
Because most of the time when we talk about challenging, you're you give up. You're no, I can't do it.
Yeah.
But what I hear is you're exciting. He was tough on you. But at the same time, you're willing to it was exciting, so you're enjoying it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was on the right side of, I guess, a challenge that felt like I could meet also. Not a challenge that feels beyond possible. I can get there. It's not something...
And how about Mr.? Mr., how can I introduce you?
How do you introduce you?
Ollie.
Also, can I add to...
So, how do you spell your name? There's Holly.
It's
Ollie. How do you spell it?
It's short for Oliver. Like Oliver Twist.
Olivier.
I wish Ezra. I wish I was Olivier. I'm just straight up Oliver.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the French Olivier is the French version of Oliver.
Okay.
But Oliver Twist. Do you know Oliver Twist?
Now with your name. Is Olivier an English name or it's a French name?
English. Very English.
Why do you think it's British? Because it's your English.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a French.
It's true. I mean, who knows the origin of it?
That's your homework.
I heard that it comes from olive and an olive branch.
Yeah.
From the olive tree.
So who came first? Was it Olivier or Olive?
I think the olives came first.
Yeah.
The olives always come first.
Okay.
Can I just add something to Maria's story?
Yeah.
She told me the other day that her mum was pregnant with her.
Yeah.
And was walking around the park.
Yeah.
And in the park there was a dance theatre performance going on. And then when her mum looked at it, was looking at the performance, then her waters broke and she started giving birth to Maria. So I feel like it was written in the stars.
Hey.
You were let me on the stage.
That's interesting. So that means Maria was in the mom's belly and she was there, get me out of this.
Yeah, I said, that's my moment. That's my time to come out.
Yeah, I'm I want to see what's outside, Mom. What are you looking at?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's nice that you shared it.
That's
I wouldn't have thought to share
story.
that, but it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Also, that's kind of you stealing the show. Like, there's a performance going on, and you're like, "This is my time to make the entrance."
Yeah, mom.
No one's
mom,
looking anymore at the performance. There's a woman going into labor.
You're like, mom, so what you being selfish? Because I'm some with bigness,
Yeah.
it can come early or late.
Mm.
So for you, was it a late? Like, if you remember the story, was it a late? Were you overdue?
No, I think I was like a little bit early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aye.
Yeah.
That means you remind me of this cartoon, Curious George. It's like for the kids,
Yeah.
Curious George was always curious. Like, I need to know what's happening. Are you a curious person?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think curiosity is a very important part of sustaining yourself, sustaining happiness.
So my people, you have to remember that being curious, it's a positive and it's a value that we need. You need to be curious. Why is this happening? Be curious. So as Maria says, he was curious for the party that the mom was listening to, and she was like, I'm out. I need to see this. How about Holly?
Yeah, about curiosity, I think that is, for me, one of the most important traits. I feel like you're only old when you stop like being curious. You stop being interested in the world around you and asking questions. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you a random question. Like, when you're about to get on the journey, what are the first things, 3 things that you have to be ready for? Like, okay, we have to prepare. Let's say I'm about to go to this journey. What are things that I have to get? The first 3 things that I have to be prepared to make me get on the journey.
So I've been in London most of my life, which is why I have a slightly haggard, sad face, because I've been there forever.
Yeah.
And I wanted to leave. And so my journey towards leaving, the first thing I started doing was just telling everyone that I was leaving. I started telling everyone I was moving to Athens in Greece, and I hadn't sorted out anything. And I was just saying this for like a year. And the reason I was telling people was because I wanted, it meant like I had conversations about it, and people would say, "Oh, I've got a friend who lives in Athens," or "I've got a friend who worked in this project there." So for me, that was kind of like the first step about going somewhere, is start talking to people where you are at the moment and seeing like what connections come up. Because I feel like that's what makes a good trip. For a good trip is about people and like the little connections you make. So that's kind of the first thing that I start doing, is talking and trying to gather information from people.
So information.
Yeah, information, tips, connections. And also, the more I talk about it, the more it becomes like a reality. Because
I find this like moving to North America. This is when I learned that culture shock. Yeah. And I'm like, how can a culture shock you? It's a car, you've seen car. It's a house, you've seen a house. And then I'm like, dude, it's like 4 lanes driving one way. Yeah. Driving on a certain speed. And me getting on those streets, one of the things was like sweating, like I had panic attacks. I'm like, I want to reach to my destination safe. Highways, to learn that there's a highway. Like, we don't have a highway. Yeah. We call it it's a highway, but we don't have a highway. Like in Rwanda, we don't have a highway. Yeah. So do you remember, like, because I felt with culture shock, and I've heard that for the first like 6 months, and you too, for the first like 6 or 7 or 8 months, it's kind of chill, and then suddenly it hits you. Did you have that experience moving to North America? With me, I think it's when I was an adult, and I thought I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know anything because it's a different culture. People sit on they eat at a certain time. People they communicate different. Time is key. I come from from a culture where, you have to separate between the time and the hour. So when they say time is money, it's the moment, the way you need, and everything was like about the moment. You're getting paid an hour. Here you're getting paid a month. No one gets paid hourly. So now you're in a system where it's like your hour. If it's 8-hour shift, this is what you're gonna get paid.
Yeah.
I loved it.
You loved it.
I loved
you like
it.
that different.
I loved it because now the motivation was the money, and as the 16 hours, and I'm like, no, but I'm not enjoying it because now what's motivating me is the money. I'm like, hey, I can make what I make in 3 months. I can make it in 24 hours. So it was easy for me to switch to the money and then forget about myself. So with time, culture, there are things that you have to really understand what you need. To me, the culture shock was like it taught me, do you get to have a conversation with you? Do you get to rest? Because in the beginning, my motivation was the money. I was like, I went to school to make money.
But how long did that, the motivation to work by the hour and be motivated by the money last?
A balance. I had to first even understand that you can be depressed.
Yeah.
Like even depression. For me, the first thing was depression. I was like, what's depression? What's anxiety? Those feelings. Why am I uncomfortable? Because culture can make you uncomfortable. I'm being uncomfortable right now. But it was because I'm in a different culture that my body is not used to. Like we're used to, I'm coming. 6 hours. You're still coming. Bro, come right now. An hour. You to know that the value of an hour. And I was like, man. So it was kind of a challenge. And I guess when you think about the journey, there's challenges. There's curiosity.
Yeah.
There's the challenge. But still, we have to talk about, to our listeners, they have to understand what we need. You said first is an idea. You talk, you do research.
Yeah. I think another thing is accepting that things will go wrong or that you won't always have a great time and that there are really valuable lessons to learn from that. Maybe even more valuable than the good ones.
Are you listening to what Maria and Holly? It's not about, I have the money, let me go on the flight. Do your research, ask people that you trust, let them guide you, then go on the journey. You said it took you almost how long did it take you? A year.
I was talking about it for a year to people.
See? You have to talk about it. You have to prepare yourself.
Maybe that was too long.
And now it's happened. No, sometimes it can even be 10 years.
Yeah.
It can be 10 years, but it's happening. So whatever you think, whatever you want in your journey, there's an inspiration. It's not about money. Remember, it's not about money. It's about you want it, you want to do it.